Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to another edition Outside Looking In. My name is Bruce Degg. We're talking about the issues that emanate from Montgomery County and beyond. How you doing? I'm doing all right. Suffering from election hangover. Oh, no, wait. Maybe it's daylight savings time hangover. Right, daylight savings time. I swear to goodness, before I get involved in the election stuff, I got to talk to people who get really, really burned and upset by daylight savings time. You know, it's like, oh, that 1 hour, I can't believe. We go forward, we go backwards. It's killing me. It's killing me, Whitey. It's killing me. I got to ask you one thing. You know, if you're one of these people about daylight savings time, I know things are getting a little darker and stuff like that. It's a change, no doubt. But have you ever been on an airplane before? Have you ever flown to the West Coast? Have you ever flown to London? You're worried about 1 hour of sleep? It ruins my whole day. Oh, my whole week is shot because of that 1 hour. Shut up. All right? That's all I got to say about it. Shut up. I don't know what's happening next year. I heard that we're not going to have daylight savings time. So all the kids who get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in Montgomery County and going to get on the buses, you know what? Go to school in the dark. Why not? You know, sit at your bus stop in the dark. And that's the thing that gets me. It's like Montgomery County is a little different. If you don't have a sidewalk or if your sidewalk's not plowed or shoveled off, the kids can't get to school, so they'll close schools for snow days, etc. But we're going to put everybody out in the dark in the morning. Maybe I'm a little bit different. Maybe I don't mind the evening darkness. The morning, come on, man. I don't want to wake up in the dark. I don't have a cow to milk or anything of that sort, so let's go. Enough. But I'll tell you where the problem for me with daylight savings time comes in with this early Christmas stew. You know, we've been to Costco. I'm not even complaining about Christmas in terms of, oh, it's the commercialism or anything of that sort. What I complain about with the commercial, with the Christmas right now, is that now we're getting like Home Depot has Christmas lights up. This has the Christmas. The Dunkin' Donuts strip mall has their Christmas stuff already. It's November 11th. It's Veterans Day. First of all, why do we forget about that, right? We have off for Election Day in our school districts, but we don't have off for the libraries are closed. No mail, no nothing. But kids are going to school. Remember about November, you know, who knows what's going on anymore. But the point I was trying to make there is once you start having daylight savings time with Christmas, I got 60 days before I can relax. You know, come Christmas time, I want to put on a nice sweater, drink a nice beer, sit by the fire, enjoy, be thankful for what I got. But I can't do that now. It's November 11th. I got to make hay. Inflation, man, 7.7%. Ooh, it's down from 8. I guess it's better than going up, right? But at least it's down, but it's still 7.7%. Joe Biden claiming victory over the elections. Oh, America, the red wave. Let me tell you about that red wave. I don't know who don't believe in exit polls. Don't believe any polls anymore because they don't mean a damn thing. Right? The last polls were Trump doesn't have a chance and he won. Now the red wave is coming. The red wave's coming. You know what? I'll get to that in a second. I did vote this past weekend. Oh, let me talk to you about inflation. You know how I normally sit here, I drink a beer, right? Sometimes when I'm talking to you. This time I was in one of these delis in Montgomery County. I told you it's all messed up. They have these delis that sell beer and wine because you can't buy it at a supermarket. I didn't have time to go up to Shoppers. So I'm sitting there, and normally first choice is Bud Light, right? Budweiser, Bud Light. This place for a 12-pack, $19. Ouch. Then I went down for Miller Lite. Miller Lite was a little bit cheaper. That was $18. It's like $18 for 12. Ooh, this is what tells you my social life, right? I'm a shut-in now because I went up to New York City a couple weeks ago. it was $10 for just one beer. Ouch! But anyway, I settled on. I went over. I said, where are the mountains blue? Coors Light. Coors Light was $15.99. I bought inflation beer. I bought Coors Light because I'm like, you know what? I just want something that's light and refreshing at the moment. I'm not really going for this hoppy nonsense. I'm going to have something light and refreshing. I'm going with Coors Light, my inflation beer, because it was $4 less. How the hell are they doing that? Unless the guy didn't know how to mark the beer prices for 12. That's probably what happened. But I'm like, you know what? It's not Meister Brau. It's not Milwaukee's Beast. It's Coors Light. It's all right. I like it. I'm drinking it. Save myself $4. How you doing? How you like me now? You're always liking me. And first of all, I want to thank all the people. There are a number of people right now who are coming up to me and say, hey, when's the next podcast come out? I'm surprised. I'm always humbled because I do this just for the hell of it. I would do this if nobody listened. Because guess what? I'd still have 40 listens because I'd be listening. I'm like, oh, that guy on Outside Looking In, he's always on point. He's right. And then I realize I'm listening to myself. I better be right, right? I haven't disagreed with myself in a long time. So I was talking about voting before I got sidetracked by my inflation beer here, Coors Light. Maybe I'll take a sip in a minute. But anyway, what kills me about voting and all these voting laws, right? Jim Crow voting laws. Oh, you can't hand out water. Well, it's November when you're supposed to be voting, right? Well, I guess except for the primaries. You can't electioneer over here or there, 1,000. I mean, all these laws. Oh, it's Jim Crow. Relax with some of this stuff. I mean, if you understood what the Jim Crow laws were, you wouldn't be saying that not being able to hand out water is a Jim Crow law. But anyway, so I go to my polling place. And like, if you voted before, Bruce, you can come right in. I come right in. I have my ID with me because, I travel with my license everywhere I go. I for some reason, every election day, I always expect to show my ID. I don't need my ID. They're like, it just escapes me how you don't have to show ID to vote. I mean, what's your address? That's what they asked me for. What's your address? Repeat back your name. Joe Grip. 14704, your mom. That's what I said. No, I said, I gave my name, I gave my address. They're like, okay, go vote. It's like, it's that easy? You don't even have to verify me other than my address? And we have doubts that there's voter fraud somewhere in this country? Doubts? Pff, not anymore. How do you not expect ID? I got to get ID to go buy cigarettes, to get into a bar, but to vote, something that we all say is so important and that everybody's clobbering me over the head about, I can only have to go in there and give my address? Name, rank, and serial number, right? That's all I got to give? It's ridiculous. So anyway, I get in there, I sit, and they're like, would you like to take the paper ballot or would you like to do an electronic ballot? Vote on the machine electronically. I said, you know what? I'm hip. I know what's going on. I got an iPhone. Let me go for the electronic voting. Mistake. It was a mistake. Electronic voting took so much longer. First of all, I had to wait 15 minutes to get to the electronic voting thing. And if I had the paper ballot, I could just be... It was ridiculous. First of all, I got to wait. And then you get to that thing, and it's like 2 pages worth. And you must read everything that's on here. Okay. All right, like everybody's reading their paper ballots. It's unbelievable. So anyway, I get there and I got to take the paper ballot my electronic ballot. I fill it all out. It still prints something out and I still got to put it in the same damn machine that the paper ballots go into. Where is that? What's going on? That doesn't make sense to me. It's like a Bugs Bunny invention. There was nothing quicker about electronic voting. I will never, ever do it again. Yeah, I thought I was hip and cool, but not so much. Not so much. So I filled out one of those comment cards, right? It's like, who fills those out? I do this particular time because I said I think electronic voting stinks. First of all, you got to wait longer because no one, the older people too, they want to be hip as well. I mean, I'm moderately old, but the older people, and they can't read, they can't do anything. The best part about the electronic thing was I was able to write my name in for a county council seat. So I got one vote. I'm on the record. Somewhere I'll have to look it up. But Bruce Negrin got a write-in vote. Because I told you I never disagree with myself. I said, this guy knows all the issues. Everything's perfect. Go ahead. I'm voting for Bruce Negrin. How are you doing? But let's talk about the election for a second. Right, we're talking about the red wave. It's coming, the red wave. And you know me. I'm a Democrat. Boy, is it hard to be a Democrat. It's just tough. It is just tough. But anyway, I said, you know what? We got to get some balance in here. I voted. I'll be honest with you. Normally I don't like telling people how I voted. I voted a little bit back and forth. Some local issues, some local people. I've actually voted for a person, not a party, for city council or a county council. So that was good. And some of these other races, it's just like there were some Republicans there. It's just funny. It's like sometimes when you're a Republican, you can just be a jerk. League of Women Voters has this thing, and for state attorney general or whatever. And this guy goes, I am Greg Call. And they ask you to write some stuff. He goes, I, Greg Call, will do the right thing. It's like, why did you bother? Now you look like a schmuck. And then there are other people who didn't even put in stuff, who don't even put in a synopsis, so you can't read about them. It says, go to my Facebook page. I am not going to your Facebook page to learn your policies. Please. I mean, that shows me that you're not a serious candidate, by any means. If you don't have a website, there's certain things it's like you have to check the boxes on. There has to be a website. There has to be a palm card. You have to fill out the stuff that the League of Women Voters sends to you, because a lot of people are voting off the seat of their pants. Educated voter. They're reading this stuff the night before or the minute before they go into the poll. And that's how they're making the decisions. And if you don't put something down, then there's nothing to vote for. I'm not going to vote for a name because there's an R next to it and nothing else. As I wouldn't vote for a D with nothing else. But I'll tell you something. This red wave, right, in Maryland, there was Wes Moore versus Dan Cox. I'm not a big fan of the administration right now. I'm not a big fan of the liberal tide that's rolling over us, much more so than the red wave has. But I'll tell you one thing, man, and I stick to my guns on this. I will not vote for someone who does not believe in the election process. A person who denies electoral results. I know you what you're saying. You say, Bruce, you just said that all you needed was an address to vote. But I'm telling you, that's the fabric of this country and the democracy. And once you attack that, it's over. I will not support election deniers. And that's really all the Republicans were, election deniers. I mean, how in my right mind can I say that I'm an educated man and say that someone who's denying the election, you're not talking about freedom. You're not talking about, the issues. You're talking about that's something that everybody is there volunteering, and that whole structure, unless the Illuminati really is taking over this country. I mean, everything that's been based 250 years, close to 250 years, you're going to tear it down? Because you don't like the result? You talk about spoiled, petulant children. That's exactly what it is. I'm going to run an election. I'm going to run for office. Oh, I didn't win? Well, I don't accept those results. And don't get me wrong, you don't have to concede on election night. You can make sure every vote is counted, and I sure as hell would. I would make sure that every vote is counted. But once it is, if you've lost by 1 or you've lost by 40 after a recount, you concede that election. They won. The other party won. If you don't have enough votes, the other party won. The other candidate won. You cannot deny elections. It is the basis of democracy. Because then what's the point of an election? I think someone who was once president had tried to run that end game. And I love Donald Trump because you know what? The thing, and I say that tongue in cheek, so don't run around and take the sound clip and saying what I'm saying there. But you talk about the king of election deniers. That guy, right? And now he's going nuts. He did not have a strong showing in the midterms. Because again, as a Republican at heart, a Democrat on paper, I could not vote for someone, even though I did not like Wes Moore giving away the House, because I'm afraid that Maryland, who has a budget surplus under a moderate Republican, Larry Hogan, who's leaving office because of term limits, we have a budget surplus as a state. That's unheard of. It's unheard of. Where I came from, New York, budget surplus, please. Tax. I mean, they can actually cut taxes here and make a difference. But, what I was saying about Trump before, though, it's like this guy is really turning on everybody. Turning on Glenn Youngkin today. Turned on DeSantis because they all pose a threat. So anybody poses a threat is disloyal. I made you who you are. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, maybe because these guys who I would vote for, it's not because of Trump. The thing with Trump here is that his mantra is loyalty, not policy. He doesn't support these guys. He doesn't support candidates based on policy. Sure, he wants some things, and his policies, as I told you 1,000 times before, I agreed with a lot of them. But he wants loyalty. And that's why he supported these candidates. And anybody who shies away from him a little bit, cut off, done. You remember a guy named Jeff Sessions, the Alabama senator, the biggest Trump supporter of all time? Went to the Justice Department. He gave up his Senate seat to be part of the Trump cabinet, went to the Justice Department. He didn't want to do the investigation, so see ya, bye-bye. That's a book I'd like to read. I mean, nobody even remembers that guy anymore. Life ruined because of loyalty, not policy. But again, election denying, I cannot have it. I will not vote for anybody who denies an election. Because what does it mean? What does my vote mean if you're going to deny it one way or the other? Even if I voted for you and you came up short, I voted for you. I believe in the process. You sure as hell better believe in the process if you want to be part of my government, right? Government for the people, by the people, except I deny it. You can't, it's like a thread on a sweater. You can't pull at this stuff and not think it's going to unravel. Democracy is very, very fragile. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it now. But, their underlying basis, there's foundations. That's what I'm trying to say. They're foundations that you can't mess with. Because if you knock it out, then the whole thing falls. But there wasn't a red wave. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe this Trump philosophy is going to leave us. And if losing a midterm election for the Republicans means that Trump is out the door, then I think it's a good thing. Again, the policies, because the policies, some of them were okay. Some of them made sense. Some of them were working. Some of them there was no reason to tear them down. But Trump doesn't go by policy. He goes by loyalty. And that is a problem, my friends. That is a problem. The other thing that is a problem is that the general election doesn't mean anything anymore. How many races were won in the United States in the primary? Right? Everyone's like, Bruce, how could you leave the Republican Party and become a Democrat? Because I want to vote for the guy I want to choose the candidate that's on the party that's going to win. Because once I get to the general election, then I can vote any way I want. But in these blue states and counties, your election is over in June. Westmore, once he became the Democratic nominee, there was no way he was going to lose, especially going up against Dan Cox. There was no way. The primary was the election. And it bothers me that a primary is more important than a general election. Oh, he cruised to a primary win, so he doesn't have to worry about anything ever again. So, just the coronation. Measure the drapes. All right, let's do that. How about we get some real things going here? And this philosophy of the Democrats too, right? You can't shake the devil's hand and say that you're only kidding. And that's what they did. They put in a lot of money to subvert the Republican process. You subverted the process legally, unfortunately. Let's put in a lot of money for Dan Cox, an election denier, so where Bruce Negrin, Republican, Democrat, whatever I am, cannot vote for him because I have ideals. I believe in things. I believe in the foundation of elections. But I cannot vote for a Dan Cox. I can't vote for him if you're going to deny an election. I can't do it. So, but the Democrats poured a ton of money into Dan Cox's primary so he could beat Kathy Schultz, who was a moderate who Larry Hogan wanted to be the next governor. This wasn't a rebuke of Larry Hogan. It wasn't a rebuke of Kathy Schultz. It was just, let's go with the crazy guy. Let's give him the money and say he's, scare people into it. And again, it's a tactic, scaring. Crime is real. Inflation is real. Gas shortages are real. It's all real. Climate change is real. It's all real. So these are things to be scared of. So it's not really scaring people, but how dare you do that? Talk about dirty pool. And again, you would have liked to have seen one of these guys win that the Democrats didn't win, and so they could stab themselves in the foot, shoot themselves in the foot. But it didn't happen because sensible people, they played me. And I don't feel good about that. I don't feel good that my choice was stolen. And again, Bruce, you're saying, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Yes, maybe I am. See, I'm smart enough to realize that. But, a moderate Republican was wiped off the map because more money went into Dan Cox, and that's what the Democrats were doing. Let's pick the worst evil out of the Republican Party, promote that, and really hammer home the message of how bad every Republican is so we can build up our Democrat who wants to spend. I got a 15-year-old kid in this house, and he talks to me, goes, Dad, taxes. And then that's all he says, Dad, taxes. That's how my son talks. But anyway, I said, what about taxes, Ryan? He goes, it's crazy. I go, it is crazy. He goes, it's the government, right? We all pay all these taxes, and the taxes get raised, and the government just spends the money, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, that's not right. And I'm like, damn Skippy, it's not right. Not everybody's problem can be solved by government spending. And I said this a while ago, a couple years ago, I said, if they told me that I was going to be taxed more, and those extra tax dollars were going to pay off the deficit, all right, at least I know where they're going. At least I know it's not creating a bigger deficit. I know it's going to pay down a deficit. I feel like Dave Ramsey here, the economic guru, right, on Sirius XM, talking to the government. Take some money, put it to the side. Don't put everything on credit. Take some money, put it to the side, and pay down the debt. And then with the money extra, then you can buy yourself a nice meal at Arby's. Because they have the meats. So there were ballot issues in Maryland. Maryland's finally getting illegal gambling. How's that for a Freudian slip? Legal gambling on the phones. Wonderful, fantastic. Can't wait for all these high school kids who somehow can manipulate anything, start betting on Ravens games, and start telling mom and dad that they don't have any money left and the car is being repossessed. But the legalization of marijuana, it was on the ballot, and it passed. It crushed. It was wonderful. We can smoke dope legally in Maryland. Yes, 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 yes. That's what I want to do. I want to sit around watching Breaking Bad and get high. But the problem with legalizing marijuana, the reason it's a problem is because I had to argue with my teenager about it, who, as of today, doesn't smoke or don't know if he does. I don't believe so. He talks a good game. But that I had to argue with him about it shows a problem. He comes at me with these, people were getting locked up for marijuana, and that's a problem. They were getting locked up for a bunch of years. And I said, the Rockefeller laws, that's what you're talking about? He goes, yeah, some law like that. It's like, hey, homie, yo, Holmes, yo. I understand. I have the experience about this. I am so down on legal marijuana because he's like, how can you be? What about alcohol? Oh, okay. You know what? The 2 martini lunch has not been around in a long, long, long time. Marijuana or alcohol used to be what marijuana is going to be now. Again, I told you the Hershey Park story 4 different times. I'm walking around Hershey Park, people with one hitters getting high. What's the point? You're going to Hershey Park. Oh, the roller coaster, man. I was up in New York City. Every street corner, someone's getting high. I used to have to cover my stuff up in a brown paper bag if I wanted to walk the streets. If I wanted to have a sip of alcohol. Come down more on alcohol than they do on marijuana. And then, it's just, and I'm not going to say it's a gateway drug or anything of that sort, but it really lets people into a world. It's like, oh, my friend, he deals. Okay, great. He makes extra money. It's good for college. His sister's a stripper. But that I have to have an argument with my son over the legalization of marijuana bothers me, and that's the problem. There is a stigma to it, people. There is some stigma. If you're in the creative industry, if you're sitting in your house writing poetry or music or something, you know what? Knock yourself out. But you can't get high before school, and now kids are going to do it. It's legal. Yeah, not till you're 21, but it's legal. I'm trying to argue with the kid about that kind of stuff. Now, really, it's just, civilization is unraveling. We talked about the sweater and that string. It's happening right now, all over the place. Anything that was perceived as bad or is bad for real, it's okay now. I'm reading the New York Post the other day, and, you can shoot up in front of cop cars. You can shoot heroin in front of cop cars because you're in a safe zone. They tried that on The Wire, a fraudulent TV show. Not a fraudulent, but a fake TV show. The captain had an idea of just keeping everybody in this one area. You could do whatever you want. It's free trade here. Drugs, crack, heroin, whatever you want to do. But just keep it within this area, and we won't bother you. And that's what's happening in New York City as a whole. As a whole. On every street corner. Or most street corners. I don't want to hyperbole. I don't want to ruin my argument with that. But this idea that came from The Wire is now all over the place. It's okay. We got to help the people. It's okay. They need help. So how are you helping them by letting them shoot up in front of a cop car in the middle of daytime, in the neck, on the street? I don't get it. Call me old-fashioned. Yeah, you're old-fashioned. You know I am. Next thing I want to talk about is professional candidates. Beto O'Rourke. This guy's my favorite. He reminds me of the Mayor of Nura's show. He reminds me of this guy, Noam Bramson. You know, that same swarmy look. You know, a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, trying to be cool, and the hair and rolling up their sleeves, skinny guy. That's right, making fun of someone's appearance. Oh, I'm a bad man. But Beto O'Rourke, I mean, this guy, listen to this. He has been campaigning for 1,175 days of the past 2,048 days of his life. That is a professional campaigner. He first ran for Senate, so he almost beat Ted Cruz. Ooh, he's our new star. He's our star. Then he ran for president. How'd that go? And now he ran for Texas governor, and he lost again to Greg Abbott, who no one likes, right? Oh, he's a fascist. He's this, he's that. He's like, no one likes Greg Abbott, except the people of Texas. But I mean, when do you say take a walk? Take your ideas and you're done. Your time is up. Your 15 minutes is up, Bob Rumson. My name is Andrew Shepard, and I am the president. Anytime I can quote American president, I will. See, I got a liberal side. But anyway, it's just unbelievable that this guy Beto O'Rourke, that he's still around, that people still listen to him. Your message is dead and gone. And you rode a wave. People talk about waves, right? And the elections, it's like they're talking about Fetterman for John Fetterman, the senator-elect from Pennsylvania, ran against Mehmet Oz, who seemed to be from New Jersey, from what I was understanding. But anyway, the point about these guys, well, Fetterman now, this is the funny part, MSNBC, you talk about whack jobs. He hasn't even taken the oath of office yet. He's just been elected. And there was someone on MSNBC talking about him and his presidential chances. His presidential chances? Whoa, hold up. Hold up a second. Oh, how do you say that? Kay Turner or something? Kev Turner? Whatever her name was. I mean, I don't even want to know her name because it's just idiocy. That was idiocy. She goes, well, he did better than Biden in the blue districts and he did better than Trump in the red districts. You know, sometimes an election is about who's on the ballot and the cards that you were dealt. And one of the things I wanted to say here in Pennsylvania, without knowing the race itself, I've seen a couple Pennsylvania commercials. I forgot the guy's name, but there was another real red guy running for governor. And I don't think anybody wanted that. Marciano, I can't think of his name. But anyway, when people have a reason to come out, they will vote differently. John Fetterman wasn't pulling the people out. People were out. I said, I got to hear my voice. My voice has to be heard. So I'm going to come out here. I'm going to vote against the red guy for governor, because I don't like election denying and all those kinds of things. And then I'm going to vote for Fetterman because I don't believe that Oz is from here. Or I don't believe in his issues. I don't believe that he's, I don't want someone backed by Trump. You're making Fetterman a king. You're making him president on MSNBC. Grow up, but just, I don't even know what to say. This isn't even a Republican or a Democrat. This isn't even a liberal crying. But come on, the guy hasn't even put on a suit yet to take the oath of office, and you've already said, he's got a path to the presidency. What? You know what it says? It says that we have too much time, too much media, too much of anything. There is too much time to fill. I mean, let's go on election night coverage. Let's start at 4 or 5 p.m. Unless there's an issue with voting machines where they all got burned down or thrown into the ocean, there is nothing to talk about, because we know that the polls don't mean a damn thing. We know that the election places don't close to 9, and the AP wants to call races with 2 or 3 precincts in. Stop it. Just stop it. Have some patience, but we don't have patience anymore, because we need to know. We need to fill our Twitter feeds, right? Twitter, see that. But we need to do this, we need to do that. We need information, and people are just making it up. They're making it up because there's not enough information to fill the time that we have. Am I wrong? Do you think I'm wrong? Because I know I'm not wrong. There is not enough information to fill the time that we have because we got 4 or 5 different networks trying to scoop each other. Got Twitters and newspaper reporters and all this kind of stuff. I mean, even look what goes on in sports, right? Adam Schefter is reporting that ESPN is reporting, and people are taking other people's reports because they have to fill time. They have to make themselves relevant. And there is nothing to be relevant about. It is okay to take a break. It is okay not to be on the front page of everything. It is okay not to have a scoop when there is no scoop. Because now you give the idiots a chance to talk. And you give the idiots a chance to be on MSNBC, which is supposed to be a respected network, right? For at least on the Democratic side. And I can't believe there was a picture of the state attorney general, President Obama, President Biden, and John Fetterman on stage. And I'll tell you, I'll give Obama a medal because he has taken one for the team. I cannot believe... Talk about, there's a guy, the antithesis of loyalty to party, right? He's so for party and so for policy that he's willing to go on stage with a guy wearing cargo shorts and a sweatshirt who wants to be senator. And then MSNBC again, and this is the truth. I saw this. It's not some clipped thing. I saw the 5-minute interview. They were talking to the Democratic strategist for John Fetterman. And they asked her, they go, was it a tough decision to come out and tell the people that Fetterman had a stroke? What? You're going to hide that? How do you hide that? How could you even ask that question as a journalist? Was it a tough decision? And the lady, to her credit, said, yeah, it was tough to come out, but we started to make it public and we had, because you have to. Because you have to. I mean, it's... HIPAA laws don't count when you're running for state senate or for U.S. Senate. You have to. The guy had a stroke. You don't think it's going to come out, first of all? And number two, I mean, now, and this is the other part about the MSNBC thing. Is so, John, the Democratic consultant said, so John started talking about it at his political rallies and stuff. He goes, I've had a stroke. Anybody else out here? And the MSNBC lady is like, yeah, I'm sure everybody raised their hand. I've had a stroke. No, not everybody's had a stroke. It's not like everybody's had ice cream. I mean, all of a sudden, stroke is a cool thing to have. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Just blurring the facts and mushing things together where it doesn't make sense anymore. To where you're just filling time. There was no reason for this interview. And she followed it up with the hard-hitting questions. Is Fetterman going to wear a suit in Congress? Their dress codes. And the lady's like, John has suits, you idiot. I mean, what am I getting upset about? I don't know. I think you can figure out what I'm upset about. So I'm going to end the program. The program's called Outside Looking In. My name is Bruce Negrin. We do this, trying to do it every week. We'll do it when we can. And again, I appreciate you letting me know that you're listening. And at some points, agree with what I say. Even if you don't, I just appreciate you listening. But this is one of the people ask me, why did I name the program Outside Looking In? Because that's the way I feel. First, it was because I was from New York and then I moved down to Montgomery County. So I didn't know what the hell was going on around here. I was on the outside looking in. But now I feel the same way. I've been down here for 8-9 years. Wow, that's a long time. But I've been down here for 8 or 9 years. And now politically, I feel like I'm on the outside looking in. I have no idea. Let me in, somebody. Please let me in. I want to be part of something again. But there's nowhere for me to go. People like me, we might as well just walk into the ocean, go to Valhalla, burn ourselves in a boat somewhere. Because it's over. There's nowhere for me to go. I'm not going far left. I'm not going far right until someone has the guts to step up in the middle. And I'll tell you, Democrats, you want to do something? You want to show me guts, Democrats? Somebody primary Joe Biden. You can't be happy with that. Just because he's a sitting president? You know what? He doesn't deserve to be a sitting president anymore. Let him get his 4 years. He gets a portrait. Have him come out and eat ice cream at the Joe Biden Plaza on Delaware Turnpike. Hooray for Joe. But you want to show me guts. Some Republican a couple years ago should have primaried Trump, and someone should primary Biden. You want to start a new movement? You want to be the pallbearer or the torchbearer? The pallbearer. There's another slip. You want to be the torchbearer? Then go ahead. That's what you do. You primary him. And now I'm going to leave you on the hardest hitting issue there is. Get ready, sit down. There's no bigger scam going on in the United States than cookies. What? What do you mean cookies, Bruce? What a stupid way to end a program. I agree with you. What a stupid way. My wife was in South Carolina. She saw these cookies, right? And they're South Carolina's favorite cookie. Brings them home. Little mini bites and stuff like that. Me and the kids open them up. Oh, yeah, chocolate chip and Rocky Road cookies. Yeah, all these little thin nonsense cookies, little bites. We open them up. They stink. No better than Chips Ahoy. No better than an Oreo. My wife makes great cookies. She makes really good cookies. I enjoy her chocolate chips. She makes all these others. She makes a ginger cookie everybody loves. But it's not a scam. It's real. All these other people, scam. Cookies, cookies, cookies. There's only one place. And this is for you, Mike Wiedmer, and your wife, Lucy. There was a place in Birmingham that made chocolate chip cookies. I can't think of the name of it, but I know they don't ship around the country. You can order them from Birmingham. But he brought them to a gathering I was at down in Florida. Because a Florida man eats cookies. But I was down there, and they were good. Those were good cookies. That was not. But again, they're not trying to build up the hype. They're not scam. They have a cookie store, maybe one or two, but they were in Birmingham. And you got to go to Birmingham to get them. Good for them. Yeah, it was stupid. At a much greater point. If you had these cookies, you'd understand my disappointment. And that's why I bring it to you, the people. The program's called Outside Looking In. My name is Bruce Negrin. Find us on Facebook. Find us, brucenice@yahoo.com. Just find us. Tell people that you're listening. Subscribe to this program. Pass it on to somebody else if they want to hear a voice of reason. The voice of reason. Because you know what? It's not just me. It's you too. I'm speaking for you. I'm not above you. I'm with you, man. Power to the people. The hell with the people. Power to me. All right, I'll talk to you next week.